It hurts to see that the reason that a lot of women went back to relaxers was because they saw it as too much work because of these YouTube videos, okay? They were watching these YouTube videos trying to get help, only to be led down the rabbit hole of doing 10-step routines, literally sitting here putting banana peels and apple slices and lettuce in their hair. Like, I don't understand. Am I trying to learn how to do my hair better, or am I learning the secret Krabby Patty formula? What up, everybody? I am the Mademoiselle, and this is my channel. And as you guys can tell by today's title, today we're going to be doing part 2 of the rise and fall of the natural hair beauty guru. Okay, so there's not going to be too many parts to this. This is probably going to be the final part. I feel like there is a lot that we can discuss as to why a lot of people stopped watching these people. However, I do want to hear your opinions down below. Why did you stop watching natural hair content? Do you still watch natural hair content? And most importantly, what do you think is entail for the future? What do you want to see new content creators in that space do? Now, there were a few people that I guess felt butthurt about what I said in my video and didn't listen to the part where I said, obviously, there are people out there that still create natural hair content because they felt the need to tell me. I'm not dumb. I'm not slow. Obviously, I do know that there are many people out there make natural hair content. However, for those of us who have been watching YouTube for a very, very long time, you would know that it is not the same. The way that natural hair content was back then and the way it is now is completely different. The space is not as saturated as it once was, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and that's what we will be discussing in this video, and that is what we discussed in the last video. So if you didn't watch the last video, it will be linked down below. If you're interested, I do lock content once in a while on my Instagram, as well as dance and other creative motivational type of content, and sometimes I'll occasionally post something on my personal channel. Again, link down below. So jumping right back into it, one of the main reasons a lot of people stopped following natural hair content was the ridiculous regimens that they had put in place, starting with these fruit salads that they had everybody putting in their hair that literally made 0 sense. Okay, from rice water to honey to toothpaste to dish Dawn soap to yeast infection cream. Like, when I'm telling y'all, it was insane. Okay, whether it was natural foods or just mundane objects you had around the house, it just didn't make sense why a lot of people were sitting here peddling these regimens for hair growth. Now, I do understand things such as rice water has been something that's been used for generations in other cultures, and honey is also something that's been used. But the way these girls were out here peddling these things and telling us to put these things in our hair was unreal and unnatural. Okay, it truly was, especially when it was like coupled with these challenges. Oh my God, the challenges got on my nerves. Waist length in 365 days, journey to shoulder length in 38 days, moisturize every single day for 60 days. Like, are y'all really joking right now? Like, it just, child, and they really had all of us in a chokehold following these routines. And of course, this opened up doors for people to really think, like, were these girls actually doing what they said they were doing? But also, were these women actually getting legitimate results, right? I did touch on people getting texturizers and relaxers and doing all of this stuff to their hair to make people perceive that their hair was longer than it actually was, especially when it came to these challenges and these regimens. Of course, that led to more natural hair texture wigs and clip-ins and things of the sort. It was very interesting because when those things started coming out, like, I still have my natural hair wigs. I think I have 2, and then I have clip-ins. I still have them because in theory I could still wear them with my locks. It's just a lot more work. I gotta like braid them down and tie it, whatever. I haven't done it, but when I first started my locks, I still used to wear like my clip-ins and my wigs and stuff. So it's funny because like now looking back at it, like that era where a lot of these companies started coming out with natural hair texture type of wigs and clip-ins, it made it so much easier to lie. A lot of these girls were literally just clipping in like extensions and like stretching them out, and it you would never know because it looks so real. I remember one of my natural hair wigs, a lot of people thought that that was my hair, and I always used to comment like, no, not my hair, no, this ain't mine, no, it's a wig, get in here. And it's like, wow, like it's so easy to fool and manipulate people, because if you really watched my content and you really seen my hair, like, you would know that that shit was not my natural hair texture. But for a lot of these girls, they were manipulating so much of the logarithm, so much of their audience, that it just became hard to tell like what is real and what is not. Speaking of algorithm shifts became very, very detrimental to a lot of creators, not just content creators in that space. When it came to the algorithm changing, a lot of it started to favor shorter content, especially with the introduction of TikTok and other short form apps. YouTube really wanted to compete. So nowadays, specifically, the shorter the content, the better, especially if you're putting a lot of information into that content. YouTube Shorts right now have like such a priority. Like, they literally have YouTube short events. Like, it's insane. Like, I have a YouTube Shorts pillow behind me. Like, it's crazy. Like, anytime I go to an event, it's like the priority is short form content. And I feel like that hurt a lot of these pages as well. It's pretty hard to do a hair routine in 30 seconds or a minute. It's damn near impossible. Okay. Like, I know I've always said it don't take that long to do your hair, but it ain't gonna take 30 seconds to a minute. And of course you could cut things down, but how much cutting are we going to do? Of course, speaking of work, it was the emotional labor of it all, right? Now, I know I have thousands of comments on my channel about I went natural because of this, but I went back to relaxer because of that. And a lot of that was the labor. It took way too much work for people to do their natural hair, which is why we had the introduction of the natural hair space in the first place. Most of these content creators started because they wanted to teach people how to do their hair more effectively and efficiently. Unfortunately, it ended up turning into something else. But for the average person, they ended up watching this content, following all the steps, the rules and regulations, and still ended up doing way more work than they needed to. So of course that ended up having people revert back to getting relaxers and stuff like that. Y'all already know, if you see me before, I don't believe in relaxers. I think it's extremely problematic. And there's always those people that comment like, oh my God, why do y'all care about what the next woman does with their hair? The whole idea of y'all even saying this bothers me, because I hate anyone that has that type of mindset with anything. At the end of the day, when you sit there and you're putting relaxers and wigs and weaves in your hair 24/8, it makes it harder for those of us that wear our natural hair, because ultimately that type of hair texture, those types of devices are what is acceptable to white society, to mainstream society. So when we sit there and we wear it and we do it, etc., that is going to make things worse. It makes it harder for us, and it makes it easier for you to hide behind what is your natural hair texture. It makes it harder for me and others who are fighting in that space for hair equality and hair acceptance to make a case, because literally a lot of us are not wearing our real hair. I have no idea how hard it is for y'all to understand that. Like, it genuinely pisses me off, because it's like, if you want to wear your wigs and you want to wear your relaxer or whatever, yes, do it. But understand, just like with everything in your life, people are going to have opinions about it. Unfortunately, decisions like this do have a negative impact on all of us. Just like how a lot of us talk about ratchet television and how these women rappers are horrible examples or whatever the case may be. Like, yeah, you can also say, oh, well, why we care about what the next woman do? We not the market. Yo, it affects all of us. All right. So I'm sick and tired of hearing that argument. So yeah, at the end of the day, the whole argument of, oh, it's too much work to do my natural hair comes from a lot of women not knowing how to do their natural hair and just giving up. And honestly, I don't blame y'all. I've given up numerous times as well. But also at the same time, I gave up on spending hundreds of dollars every month or every other month to get my hair done. It was ridiculous. It was like, bro, like, this is literally part of my budget at this point. And I really wanted to see what my hair could do. You know, like, part of the reason I got my locks was a spiritual calling. I talked about it in my other video. Again, feel free to watch it. But it's one of those things where it was like, bro, like, I don't see anybody else doing this. Nobody else is sitting here doing all of this to cover their hair all the time. Like, why do I have to do it? Like, why I gotta be black women? So it was a conscious change that I made within myself. But a lot of women do give up, and it hurts to see that the reason that a lot of women went back to relaxers was because they saw it as too much work because of these YouTube videos. Okay. They were watching these YouTube videos trying to get help, only to be led down the rabbit hole of doing 10-step routines, literally sitting here putting banana peels and apple slices and lettuce in their hair. Like, I don't understand. Am I trying to learn how to do my hair better, or am I learning the secret Krabby Patty formula? It doesn't really make any logical sense to me. And that is part of the reason I started making my videos a long time ago. I made my last video and I made this video. we need to understand that a lot of this is a scam, okay? A lot of these content creators were scamming you. Once you know what's good for your hair, once you know what products work for you, doing your hair becomes extremely simple. It doesn't matter if you have 4C, 4Z, 3A, 2, whatever hair. If you have the right products, your hair will grow. If you stop manipulating it all day, your hair will grow. Yes, there is a genetic component, but at the end of the day, a lot of people don't do what they need to do for their hair, and then they blame everything on everyone else. It's just like weight loss. You sit here, you say, I'm eating right, when in actuality, you're going to the gym, you're goofing around, you're taking pictures, you're making videos instead of actually doing a workout. You eating empanadas and pizza and drinking soda every day, and you're talking about, oh, I can't lose this 10 pounds. Like, come on. Like, accountability has to be something that a lot of us work on moving forward. Of course, in this space, there was a lot of lack of recognition as well as brand deals, right? It is no secret that Black creators get paid less. Point blank, period. It's been something that a lot of Black creators have talked about. I've touched on it briefly, and it's very sad because I don't think this is something that's ever going to stop. I feel like it's something my great grandkids are going to be fighting for, right? It's going to be something where, like, honestly, it's probably going to be something that never happens in terms of Black creators getting paid what the white creators get paid. Okay. I feel like we're always going to get paid less. And unfortunately, I feel like this is probably just one issue we're probably never going to get over. The digital space is very, very saturated with women, okay, but primarily it is a white woman dominated world, okay? It's probably one of the only industries that I can say is very woman dominated in a general sense. But when it comes to being Black and being a content creator, there's a whole different set of issues that you have to deal with, especially if your brand is primarily focused on natural hair or beauty care for Black people. Of course, there is an audience for it, but it is still extremely niche, which means you're ultimately going to get paid less for that type of content because A, not many people are searching for it. It's very, very niche. And also it's one of those things where it's just like, if you're going to take $500, why should I pay you $5,000 like I'm paying this girl, you know? And that's part of the problem too. A lot of these content creators, especially Black content creators, will take what they can get. And I understand that life is hard and you should take what you can get. But at the same time, it's like y'all are making shit worse for all of us. When you sit here, you take $100, $500, $2, or better yet, a free cooperation. What happens is they go to everyone else and they try to do the same shit. And it's like, I don't understand why these people aren't listening to me. These people aren't listening to you because literally everybody's out here taking free promo. Okay. Everybody's out here like, oh yeah, I'll take a wig in exchange for a review. No, these people have hundreds of thousands, shit, millions of dollars in their marketing budget. Make them pay you. And I can imagine for a lot of natural hair YouTubers, especially, it was extremely frustrating to put all these hours into your content, literally spend night and day, days, months doing these hair challenges, trying to entertain your audience, to be approached by a brand that's literally trying to offer you $300 when you have 800,000 subscribers. It just doesn't really make any logical sense. So I feel like that had a lot to do with it. And that's why a lot of them started doing lifestyle content or started doing like makeup type of content. And honestly, it flows, okay? It kind of goes hand in hand. So it's not too big of a deal, but there's way more opportunity to make more money in those spaces as well. Obviously, the content became redundant and there was no evolution, right? Unfortunately, you can only do but so many twist outs, so many wash and goes, so many challenges, to the point where your audience just gets sick of it and they don't want to hear it anymore. They don't want to see you. They don't want to see your hair. They don't want to see your routine. So yeah, a lot of these women ended up having to go to other spaces. But to add to that point, what a lot of people don't really realize is that a lot of us kind of get tired of the content that we're making. It doesn't matter how many views or how many subscribers or how many whatever, like, a lot of us get tired. Like at one point, I got so sick and tired of doing reactions. I kind of went back into it now, but I'll say I lost a lot of money from not doing reactions for like a year and some change because it was just like, I got tired of it. I just felt like I wanted to do different type of content. I wanted to put things out there that weren't just me sitting there, but I actually give genuine reactions, right? So I guess that's why I've been able to survive. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like I feel like every content creator out there, whether we're talking about content creators who do hair, makeup, clothing hauls, hard videos, rants, reactions, like whatever, eventually you get sick of it. And I'm sure a lot of these content creators were sick of it. But at the end of the day, them showing their hair growth and their regimens and their journeys is what was getting them views. Because unfortunately, there's this whole myth out here that Black women can't grow hair. And it's like, bro, like Black women, there's so many Black women out there, too many Black women out there that have long healthy, thriving hair. And it's just so sad that we feed into this stereotype. But at the same time, it is sad that a lot of these hair content creators and gurus or whatever fed into that by literally feeding their audience bullshit. A lot of these content creators actually did make the shift to short form content. Now, although it is pretty difficult to do short form content for natural hair, it is still something that is doable. A lot of people are doing it, and a lot of people favored to go to TikTok and Instagram and other platforms because they got more traction on there. At one point, Instagram did have like a direct pay model. Facebook has a direct pay model. TikTok also has a direct pay model. YouTube does pay more, but it's way less work. If you can do way less work and just push out more short form videos, if that's for you, then it's for you. Personally, for me, it ain't for me. But for a lot of people, especially if you're doing like demonstration type videos and tutorials and stuff like that, short form content is the way to go. Of course, we have the gentrification of the natural hair community. Now, unfortunately, there are so many companies out there, right? I ain't gonna say no names because I ain't got time to get sued. Like, I don't know what it is with people in this space, from the natural hair content creators to the natural hair companies, chat. You say anything negative, all of a sudden it's cease and desist. First of all, in the words of Tasha K, I wipe my ass with that cease and desist. Leave me the I ain't gonna say no names, but there's a lot of natural hair companies, not even, or shall I say, companies that were making hair content that try to market to Black people, knowing damn well their content or their products were never for Black people and do not work for Black people. And they sat there and they hijacked it, right? So you had the hijacking where they had their own natural hair products that were basically the same shit, same ingredients, but they just sit there and they make it gold, or they sit there and they be like, for Black hair, for natural hair, for Black women. Fuck you, it's the same shit. Okay, I can get the regular one for less money. And what makes it worse is they're sitting there and they put it for way more money. Okay, they'll mark up the prices because, oh, it's for Black women. It's special. Okay, all right. And then you have the other type of hijacking where they would be like, for curly hair girls, and they sit there and they put these ambiguous women on there, and you had them talking about their struggles, like, as a curly hair girl, you know, it was so hard to find products. It's like, oh my God, like, I just wanted to throw my freaking phone at the screen anytime I saw these commercials because it was such a cash grab. Now, obviously, girls with curly hair that are not Black do have a hard time finding products, okay? Trust me, I had a lot of those friends back in high school and in college, so I know. I'm not trying to minimize the struggle, but to sit there and equate it to the same struggle as Black women's hair is insane to me. Like, they would really sit there and market the same products, try to have like the same like vibes, and then they had these content creators for their companies trying to like use these products, but then like it wouldn't really be on a Black woman or with a person that had natural textured hair. Child, it really was a shit show. And I'm so mad I can't put anything in here because if I do, it's over for me. Like, cause y'all, the amount of like angry emails that I've gotten from people that get mad that I mentioned one little thing and it, like, you know, the shoe fit them because they wanted to be Cinderella is insane. Like, that'll probably be a story time for a long time down the road. But if you get it, you get it, right? The point is the gentrification of that space really hurt us drastically because at that point, if a company that I really, really liked and have been using their products for years isn't working for me simply because it's not for textured hair, and my booty guru told me that I should be using this product instead, and now I go use that product and it's more expensive and it's harder to find, but now that company that I used to like dropped something for Black women, who you think I'm gonna choose? I'm gonna choose the product for Black women, even though it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You know, it's just sad because a lot of this was scammery, okay? Thievery and scammery at its finest. But, you know, it is what it is. You gotta get it where you live. And that brings us to the next point. A lot of natural hair care companies, true natural hair care companies that were owned by Black people ended up selling out. Again, I ain't gonna say no names. Y'all can look it up. I might put some on the screen. But a lot of these companies were companies that were trusted by Black women, okay? These are companies that literally have been making products for years, and Black women swore by them. But unfortunately, when they sold out and they sold their companies, the formulas changed completely. Why? Because like I said, I swear to God, it's the same shit for white people. Like, I'm telling you, they lying to us, but that's not the point. A lot of them just stopped caring about the priority of putting Black women first, which is what the point of a lot of these brands were. A lot of them cared more about money. So even if the formula stayed the same, the prices would hike, right? So I feel like that really did a number on a lot of the natural hair community because it was just like, what am I going to do now? I've been using this product for so long and now it's not the same. So now it's like, ain't nobody about to sit there and spend the time redoing and researching for new products to work with their hair. Like, I hate it. Like, even now, since my hair's gotten way longer and I'm way more active since when I started my lock journey, a lot of the products that I used to use, I cannot use anymore. Or now I have to add like an extra oil or an extra moisturized day. So I will say, as your hair grows and as you change and as you age and as your lifestyle changes, there are some changes you are going to make. The difference between someone that's going to grow long, healthy hair and someone that's not is the patience. Okay. And that goes to what I said in the beginning. A lot of people just don't have the patience. They don't. A lot of people are just like, I want the easy way out, or I want something that's going to make my life less difficult, you know? So it's just like, unfortunately, taking care of your hair as a Black woman a lot of times does take way more steps than it does as a white woman or a Hispanic woman or a Chinese woman or whatever case may be. But honestly, I personally wouldn't have it any other way. That's just me. Love my hair. Love natural hair, love a fro, love a sister lock, love all of it. You feel me? And of course, finally, and I think I touched on this on my last video, but I don't feel like I expanded upon it. We have the natural hair Nazis, aka the bullies on the platform. Okay. Having natural hair was hard enough, but having natural hair and having a YouTube platform, child, I've been called so many niggaboos, on Jemimas, nannies, runaway slaves on my YouTube videos so many times. Like, obviously, right? The love outweighs the bad, but the bad was bad. Luckily for me, I have thick skin. Luckily for me, like, racist comments don't, like, it's weird. I don't care. Like, when it comes to people being racist, it's not something that's going to stop my day. I'm not going to start a march about it. I'm not going to sit there and bitch, cry, and complain. Like, literally, I see those comments and I'm just like, hide user from channel. If y'all didn't know, there's a feature that creators can use to hide you from the channel where you can comment, you can watch, you can like, dislike, and do whatever the fuck you want, but nobody's gonna see it. That is my favorite button, okay? Like, literally, my hide from user channel game is strong as fuck. Like, I'm not about to go back and forth with somebody that's called me a niggable. Like, I just don't have time for it. Like, and I can imagine, I wasn't even doing natural hair content on a consistent basis. It was something I was doing once in a while. It is something I do still once in a while. But unfortunately, as soon as I would get those comments, I would just think, like, I can imagine how people who do this for a living feel. Like, I can imagine the amount of hate comments that women are getting simply for having natural hair. That's why I kind of, in a way, give some people grace in terms of why they go to the creamy crack. But at the same time, it's like, it's 2025. I think it's time for us to realize that people don't like us, and it's okay. I think it's time for us to realize that what people's opinions of you only should matter to them. It should not matter to you. You are you. What people think of you is none of your business. I say this all the time. And it's just like, I feel like everybody starts to realize that on their own time, but the sooner the better. If you sit there and you're like, oh, I can't do this because people are going to think this and people made fun of me of that, or if I do this, people are going to like me. If any of your reasonings for anything that you do in your life has to do with other people, there's something going on and you need to work on yourself. You're going to get anywhere if you're constantly worried about how other people feel about you, what other people think about you, especially when it comes to your hair. Your hair is something so trivial in terms of what other people think about you that it's just like, seriously, like, if you're not going to like me because I have an afro, you're not going to like me because my hair is natural, then like, literally suck your mother. Like, okay, it needs to be something that a lot of us adopt, where it's just like everything that people say, it just rolls off our back. And I know it's difficult, especially for the young people out there. We've all had, you know, times where we were insecure or felt a peer pressure or felt like we wanted to do everything that everybody else was doing or felt like other people's comments affected us. But it needs to be something that we do less often and we do work on, because unfortunately, a lot of people succumb to a lot of horrible shit simply because this person said this about me, this person doesn't like me, or I'm afraid of what society will think. Now, I've said it a few times already, right? There's only so many twist outs, blowouts, whatever you could do. But there are content creators out there that were trying to, you know, have the quick little come ups that would literally like copy the same style, the same routine, the same video editing and everything of these creators. And honestly, as a creator, it gets so fucking exhausting. I've seen people do this to me all the time. And I'm just like, I've seen people literally take my choreography. Like, and I'm just like, can we get a at the mail inspired by, like, come on, like, can we, like, come on, like, don't do that. Now, obviously, we all take and bite from each other. We all take inspiration from each other, but there's a way to make it your own. When you're sitting there and you're using the same exact words, the same exact verbiage, the same exact editing, the same exact routine, like, come on. At that point, bitch, live in my skin, be my twin. Like, this is crazy. You know, I feel like you have to give credit where it's due for a lot of things. And unfortunately, a lot of people refuse to do that. And I feel like a lot of these hair gurus or whatever got sick of that. Ain't nobody got time to be putting all of that time into content for people to be stealing shit. Of course, we had people also viciously resharing this content and making horrible commentary videos on them and making money. And then you had the people that were just blatantly just reposting it. No commentary, no nothing, which is straight copyright. Like, it's so much that these gurus went through. I ain't gonna hold you. Besides the fact that a lot of them were liars and scammers, the ones that were actually honest and true about their shit probably just genuinely got burnt out, got sick of the nonsense, got sick of not getting paid, got sick of being bullied. And it's just sad, okay? Like, it really, really is sad. Unfortunately, you have to have the right hair texture to be in the natural hair community and to be accepted. You have to do the right things or keep your hair in the right way for people to not disrespect you all the time. Unfortunately, due to those reasons, there's a lot of people out there that do not care to make natural hair content. There's a lot of people out there that would much rather make videos talking about their lifestyle, their clothes, and their skincare routine because it's safer. And I can't really blame them for that. With that being said, comment down below. What did you think about this video? Did you watch part 1? Again, it's going to be linked down below. Do you still watch natural hair YouTube? Why or why not? And most importantly, what would you like future content creators to show regarding natural hair content? With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. If you guys haven't joined my membership, please do so now for extra content, early access, badges, and a whole bunch of others. If memberships are not your vibe, please make sure to join the Patreon. Again, everything is going to be linked down below. To join the memberships, all you have to do is go on my main channel and click the join button. If you don't find it, find a members only video and it will guide you through the steps. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, check out my other channels, and I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye!